Rotary is a service international community organization that boasts of membership of over 1.4 million. Primarily, their focus was on areas like promoting world peace, goodwill and understanding through its members. The members represent businesses, professionals and various communities.
We do this through clubs. So it is headed by our international president. Then there are various zones. And in those zones, there are districts. So we belong to District 9212, which covers Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, and South Sudan.
However, over time, Rotary has expanded its scope and area of focus.
With this introduction, it meant now Rotary projects could include environment in its various community activities. So now we are looking at clubs engaging in environmental projects, which, like we've said, cleaning water bodies, lots of planting trees, safeguarding the whole ecosystem.
In 2020, the Rotary District, where Kenya is a member, partnered with the United Nations Environmental Program UNEP for a pilot project dubbed Adopt a River for Sustainable Development, with an aim to support direct action at the local level.
They bring in their resources and leadership, and we worked through our clubs. And with the clubs, we go to the grassroots, to the communities, so that our impact can be well spread.
The idea being implemented had been birthed earlier in a Rotary International Representatives Network annual conference in 2018.
At that 2018 meeting in Nairobi, Rotary and UNEP started a discussion on what we then called Adopt a River. This brought various clubs together from the 4 countries that I've mentioned, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, and South Sudan. And the various clubs identified rivers or water bodies. So they adopted the rivers or water bodies around them and embarked on cleaning, ensuring that we are protecting and ensuring that it is sustainable. So some of these projects are around schools. So you clean it, not only as Rotarians, but you get the community around. In some of the projects, we got the communities around to not only clean, but see how do they reuse or what do they do with the waste, and how do we make the project sustainable so that once Rotary has moved out, how does this project continue?
To the surprise of many, the project bore fruit beyond Kenya.
And it was a very successful project across 2 countries, Kenya and Ethiopia, with the results showing what the clubs, very few clubs had been able to do to clean up and to get communities around there to participate.
This year, Rotary and UNEP aim to launch community action for fresh water through an initiative focusing on the protection of freshwater ecosystems in response to escalating challenges like pollution and habitat degradation.
So to sustain that development, now last year in November, a partnership was signed between Rotary and UNEP. And what it means now is that this project, which was previously called Adopt a River, is going beyond the river. We are trying to see the whole ecosystem, fresh water, and we are now going to look at also the communities.
The goal, which builds on the success of the pilot Adopt a River for Sustainable Development, hopes to enhance both conservation and monitoring of freshwater ecosystems globally.
Before the environment became a key area of focus, some of the earlier focus areas were around health, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, economic empowerment, education and literacy. So when we look at how the freshwater comes in, when we're looking at aspects of health, maternal and child health, we see that some of the programs that we had around disease and prevention control, freshwater played a key role. So we will be using our 7th area of focus to support the other aspects, the other areas of focus.
Just like Rotary, most corporate organizations are now shifting their focus in the area of environment, and the attention being given to corporate social responsibility is slowly shifting to environmental, social and corporate governance (ESG), which is a set of considerations which largely include environmental issues that can be considered in investing.
Now, when we think about ESG, it's also very important that we're clear about what are we dealing with. ESG is more than just sustainability. It's more about going green. It's more than just doing the right thing, having a good footprint as far as carbon is concerned. Really, ESG really deals much more with metrics, reporting, very clear requirements in terms of disclosure.
In the wake of prevailing climate change and the global call to action to mitigate its impact, Dr. Christopher Whittle, who is an expert in the field, foresees a situation where corporates, through amendment of law and policy, may be required to incorporate the environmental, social and corporate governance into company policies.
And this is going to be prescribed. And as IFRS is being adopted under different jurisdictions, we're sure it's going to be adopted just as the financial be the same level of standard importance. And it's a year for organizations to start thinking differently, not waiting till we see a situation of legislative or regulatory enforcement to think about really getting their things in order or their disclosures in order, but rather think it as a cost of doing business. The necessity of not only the risk of not being able to do business because we're unable to disclose, but the opportunity that it will bring along for further business and to change the way that will be more sustainable in future, not only from a responsible way, but also in terms of financial sustainability and resilience of organizations.
The challenge is for individuals and corporates to take ESGs as self-initiatives other than a policy obligation that has to be fulfilled.
But it's more than just climate change. We need to think about the circular economy. In other words, we can't continue the process of extracting from the ground, manufacturing something, using it, and at the end of its life simply filling a landfill. But how do we start thinking differently about what we use? Can we recycle, reuse, refuse even, remanufacture, and so forth? We also need to change the way we think, the way that we understand that an organization is integrated into society and the economy, it's part of the environment, is affected by, and it affects all of those.
For Voice of Nature, I'm David Kagina.